Well, as we get ready to celebrate our nation's independence, we remember those who fight for our freedom every day. Well, there are certainly many women on the battlefield, but yet many times they just don't get the support they need when they return home.
The Department of Veterans Affairs reports female veterans are the fastest growing segment of the U.S. homeless population. They're 3 times more likely to be homeless than male veterans. But there is a woman who's trying to change that by helping female vets get back on their feet.
As a captain in the military, Jas Boothe faced many obstacles, but some of her greatest challenges came when she returned home.
I didn't have a home, I didn't have a job, I had nowhere to go to.
Her home was destroyed in Hurricane Katrina, and a month later, she was diagnosed with cancer. With a son to support, she looked for assistance, but found none.
At that point, there were no existing services for women veterans and their children.
On any given day, about 55,000 female veterans are homeless in the U.S. More than 60% of homeless shelters that serve female vets don't accept children.
Honestly, I think that America does not equate the service and sacrifice of women veterans the same as our male counterparts.
So Jas started Final Salute, a nonprofit that has provided transitional housing or financial assistance for nearly 200 female veterans. This 7-bedroom home can house up to 10, and the kids are welcome. Annmarie Dixon has been living here for a year and a half. She needed the help when she became pregnant and lost her military health benefits.
I lived out of my car. I slept in my car while I was pregnant for about 6 months.
Annmarie works and saves her money.
I can see the light. I can finally see my goals are coming to fruition.
Jas was able to bounce back on her own, but she says she won't stop fighting for female vets to get the support they need.
It doesn't take a person who's a millionaire or a billionaire, to make a difference. It just takes a person that cares. And so
Final Salute has raised more than $650,000 for homeless female veterans. The group also provides grants to help female veterans pay for rent and for utilities. Our veterans give us so much. There's just no way we can try to do too much in helping them, just as a way to say thank you.
But there are other ways to show appreciation to these brave men and women, some who have given their all. One family is getting to see that firsthand. 70 years after their grandfather was killed in World War II, they've been reunited with something they thought was lost forever.
It's kind of unreal that I actually have it. It doesn't seem real that I actually have it now, because I had heard for years growing up that it just didn't exist. It never got back to the family.
Susan Young and her brother weren't alive when their grandfather fought in World War II, but they heard stories throughout their whole life about their grandfather, Stiles Gaffney. Gaffney was a 2nd lieutenant for the Army's 350th Regiment and a member of the Blue Devils, the 88th Infantry Division.
He was killed in Italy in September of 1944.
Gaffney was laid to rest at the Florence American Cemetery in Italy. Following his death, the family was never able to track down Gaffney's dog tag. Now, 70 years later, the dog tag has been found. 22-year-old Alessio Baiocco of Italy found the dog tag at a flea market.
I knew they were missing, but I figured they were gone. I never thought that they would be found in of all places, like a flea market.
When Alessio found Gaffney's dog tag, he started researching Gaffney's life and searching for his family so he could return the dog tag. After 2 years of searching, Alessio finally connected with the family through a veterans museum.
The thought of a 22-year-old finding something like that in a flea market and realizing the importance of it to a family was unbelievable to me.
Alessio wrote a letter to the family about the dog tag after finding out it was the relatives, saying in part, "My intention is to send you the dog tags of your relative because I would be proud to do justice to a hero who sacrificed his life to liberate my country from oppression and tyranny of Nazism." A few weeks ago, members of the Gaffney family flew out to Rome to meet Alessio and to get the dog tag. Since that trip, the family has kept in touch with Alessio.
He's constantly on the email saying, thank you, I appreciate what your grandfather helped to do in freeing us and keeping us in Italy.
For finding and delivering the dog tag, Alessio only asked for one thing in return, and that was to learn more about Stiles Gaffney. Gaffney's family plans to stay in touch with Alessio, and they said they are forever grateful. What a great story.
It's amazing that something so small can carry So much with it, but you know what?
What?
The emotional reunions don't stop there. Up next, the story of a soldier reunited with a life he saved. We're going to tell you about the inseparable bond the two will now share for the rest of their days.
And you can have that bond too. A little later, we'll introduce you to a few more fur balls on Delmarva that would love to be your lifelong companion.
But first, it's time to get our search for Stryker on. Our Sean Stryker is somewhere on Delmarva, and we are trying to figure out where. So, Sean, we need our first clue.
All right, Jimmy and Lisa, I stumped you guys earlier this week, so let's see if you can redeem yourselves. Here's my first clue. If you were a fan of strawberries and lived in the 1800s, this is a town you might have wanted to visit. Any guesses? Well, coming up, I'll have 2 more clues for you. Delmarva Life will be right back.